Okay, so the second part of 12.1 using antiderivatives is an application. So remember when you're doing an antiderivative, what you're given is the derivative. You're taking it back to the original function. So with the applications, in this particular case, you're given a marginal average cost. So remember the term marginal, it can be marginal cost, it can be marginal profit, it can be marginal revenue. Marginal is the derivative. So what you're given is the derivative. They want you to find what's the average cost, and then taking it back one step further, what's the regular cost function. So when you're given a marginal, so it even shows it here, we're given the derivative. We want to take it back one step and be able to find the average cost. So here's our function, okay? So we are given the derivative, so we have to do the antiderivative of negative 1500 over x squared dx. We can change this to negative 1500 x to the negative 2 dx, okay? And again, the dx is just a notation. It's saying in terms of x. So now, finding the antiderivative, we add 1 this time, and then divide by the new exponent. So negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1, so we're dividing by the new exponent. So it turns into positive 1500 x to the negative 1 plus c. So this is our average cost, or average cost. So we went from marginal average back to average, and now because we're dealing with an indefinite integral, now we have to deal with the c. What does the c represent? What is the actual cost function? Well, we're also given that when x is 100, y is 21. So you're going to be given these values. So all we have to do is plug in x as 100 plus c equals the y value of 21. And now we can see c is our only variable, so we can solve for it. So again, 100 to the negative 1 is 100 on the bottom. So we have 1500 divided by 100 is 15 plus c equals 21. And now we can solve for c. So c is going to equal 6. So now what we have, I'm going to erase this so I have a little bit more room. So now we have the actual average cost function. So our average cost function is 1500 over x, there's your x to the negative 1, plus 6. Okay, so now we know what the actual function is. So this is our average cost. So we've just found the answer to this first question. Now it says, what's the actual cost function? So if you remember, whenever you find average, you take the total and you divide it by x. So in this case, to go from average back to our original, we're going to multiply by x. So when I multiply by x, that gets rid of the average. When I multiply this term by x, I get 1500 because the x's cancel. When I multiply this by x, I get 6x. So my cost function is 1500 plus 6x. That's my cost function. And now it asks for what's the fixed cost. So the fixed cost is our constant 1500 in our cost function. Okay, so when you're doing a word problem like this, if you're given a derivative, marginal is derivative. If you're given a derivative, you're going to go backwards and get the antiderivative, and then you can take the next step from there.